to Coach's Corner, everybody. Thanks for watching the show. I'm your host, Coach Tripp. Here on Coach's Corner, we got a special guest, Hayden Stockton, former punter at University of Alabama, now a football coach, educator. Coach, thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, glad to be here.
My gosh, you're a punter. We're going to go through the history of Alabama punters a little later on in the show. But
Okay.
I want to start out. You were born and raised in Double Springs, Alabama. Talk about your hometown, your mom and your dad, and any siblings that you had.
Yeah, I was born in Double Springs, Alabama. Very small town, very small community, very non-athletic place. Just one of those things that I was fortunate enough to be in. My dad was a very good athlete. He actually played at Wichita State in college in football. So,
wow.
he was quarterback, and so he kind of raised me a little bit when I was younger about how to do things to be able to be successful, on the football field and to go play college football. So, really appreciate what he did for me because he's my ultimate hero. Always has been, always will be. Had a great mother that raised me really well. She liked to use the fly flap on me a lot, because I didn't always do the right things, but hey, that's just being kids. And then I had one sister, Heather Stockton, that she was 4 years older than me. And actually I got to play in the 8th grade and she was still cheering at high school. So she was actually cheering when I got to play. So very fortunate in everything that we did.
Wow. Did you play multiple sports in high school or did you just play football?
No, I could play everything I could play. I played football, played basketball, and ran track, and loved every bit of it.
Yeah.
From one sport to the next. Not like these kids, today they like to do one sport, man. Playing
Right.
multiple sports was the greatest thing I ever did, because I enjoyed
Oh,
it.
me
I
too.
love basketball as much as anything, it was a great sport and did a lot of good things in basketball. So just, really excited to play everything I could. I was more excited about playing sports and doing schoolwork, and that didn't help me out.
Yeah, me either to get into college. Well, that's amazing. Who was your influence on you? Who was a mentor? Who really had your back, and maybe a teacher or coach or somebody that helped you through high school?
My dad did mostly, but Larry Bishop, my head coach, who passed away a year and a half ago, was just really one of the key elements in it. Him and Homer Smith were really good friends, and they did a lot of fishing together and everything. And he kind of introduced me to Homer and everything when he was in Tuscaloosa. And when I came out, it's funny that I was a punter, but I was recruited as a quarterback. So, that was my big gig. So. But I tell you, it didn't matter what I played. I just wanted to play, especially at the University of Alabama.
Wow, your coach was friends with Homer Smith. Wow.
Yes. And then my second year after Mal retired, Homer came in and was our offensive coordinator. So
Right.
really had some great conversations with Homer Smith and Bill Oliver, just very
Yeah.
fortunate, very blessed to be around some great minds in football that still their legacy still live today,
Yes, they do. Homer on the offensive side, Brother Oliver on the defensive side. I just missed him. Wow. So you went on and you went to Alabama, and let's go through some of the history, and then we'll backtrack. You went to Bama. Let's give it a history of some of the punters because a good friend of mine, Tank Williamson, is on this list, and Tank is a long time coach here in Pensacola, won a state title and been to the state championship a few times. 1980, when I walked on campus there in Tuscaloosa, Woody Humphrey was the punter. Malcolm Simmons after that, then Terry Sanders, and then Chris Moore, Tank Williamson, Bill Smith, and Hayden Stockton, 95, 96. Wow. Covered a bunch of punters. You were recruited as a quarterback, but you ended up punting. How did you make that transition to being a punter at Bama?
Well, that was one thing that I always did in high school. My dad taught me to punt because he actually punted at Wichita and played quarterback and wide receiver. So from a young age, he actually taught me how to kick,
Yeah.
So it was a long process because like I said earlier, I messed up with my grades, and coming out, I didn't make a high enough score on my ACT, which meant that I had to go to junior college for a year.
Oh,
And
wow.
I spent 1 year out of school, going part time to get my grades up to transfer into Alabama, because that basically the reason I lost my scholarship. So it was a hard road, but it was one that I think developed me into being who I was and what I do now. So from a true experience, grades are very important when it comes to the kids and what they do and what they're doing now. Going to college. So as soon as I got back down there, I transferred in. Randy Ross stayed in contact with me, and I walked on and became a fullback. And I'll never forget, during 2 days, I was watching some guys kick, and Larry Kirksey was our running back coach. And I said, Coach, I can outkick them. And he looked at me and he said, that's a bunch of BS. I said, no, Coach, I'll tell you I can kick it. And he said, all right, smart A. He said, why don't you come out here tomorrow and kick? And I said, okay. So the next day we come out there and he said, all right, Stockton, let's go over there. Well, I go over there and I hit about 4 or 5 punts, and he looks at me and he said, damn, you can kick. And I said, well, I told you I could kick. So it wasn't 2 or 3 minutes. I caught Coach Stallings' eye, and Brian Deal was ahead of him, and he was kicking and everything. And Coach Stallings walked over there and he said, I think you need to come over here every day. And I said, well, I'll come over here. I'll do whatever I need to do. Because at the
Yeah.
time I was playing fullback against the 92. Are you still there?
Yeah, there you go. You're back. Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing fullback against that 92 defense. So it was really crazy.
Wow. Holy cow. Those guys were rushing you. It wasn't just the scout team. Man, oh
Right.
man, what a story. What a great story. So playing multiple sports, did that help you transition to punter because your dad taught you and you punted in high school? And do you look like you're a high school coach now, but do college coaches look at multiple sports athletes and maybe give them the nod over somebody else?
I do, because I think when you become so focused on one sport, there's not much more ceiling for you to go. When you're a 3-sport athlete or a 2-sport athlete, and you're almost as good, but maybe not as good as that guy that has singled himself out, there's a lot more ceiling for you to go. And I think, being able to play different sports gave me a lot more confidence in everything that I did athletically, because, I punted, but I was a pretty good athlete too. I tackled Charles Woodson when we played him against Michigan, Kevin Falk down in Louisiana. And these guys that still got, records in the NFL. So, I was
Yeah.
never scared or intimidated by those guys. So, it was just, it was a dream come true for
Wow.
me. I promise you that.
Wow, it is a dream come true to play for the Tide, man, to run out there and be responsible for what you did. So being the next quarterback, did Coach Stallings ever put in a fake punt pass for you?
First play I ever played against Vanderbilt was a pass. I hit Goss on about a 50-yard bomb right off the bat. So yeah, they never were scared to put in a fake with me because I was athletic. I remember Coach Oliver kept trying to talk Coach Stallings into let me play in DB, and he's like, "Nope, Bill, he's going to be our punter." And I'm like, "Well, I'll play whatever, Coach. I don't care. I just want to play."
What a great story, man. Unbelievable, Coach. All right, so talk about getting your start in coaching. Was it at Jacksonville State University, and who helped you there?
Mike Williams was the first one put me on as an AD, and me and Josh Niblett were together, at the university. But he was a strength coach then, and Mike Williams called in an office and said, "What about Hayden Stockton?" And Josh gave me a good nod, and Mike Williams brought me in, and I became the offensive GA up there at Jacksonville State. Really loved coaching on the collegiate level. The next year, Mike actually left and Jack Crow came in, and he became the new head coach, and he retained me off that staff,
Oh,
as
wow.
one of the coaches. And I went to defense then. But, you know, coaching in college is one thing. I absolutely loved it, but I know the time and the effort that it took.
Right.
And me and my wife, I talked to her because that's where I actually met her, was at Jacksonville State. And I told her, I said, my dad was always involved in my life, and I love coaching football, But I know a lot of college coaches that at the end of their days, they say, I never really got to see my kids. So we made the decision to
Yep.
move to high school so that I could see my daughter and my son, as they were being raised and be a part of their life, because that means more to me than anything when it's all said and done.
Oh, hey, man, I'm glad you said that. I did the same thing. When I got out of pro football, I had a chance to go back to Bama and coach. And I had a little girl and married, and I didn't want to work 80, 100 hours a week for $22,000 and not see my kids.
It's
Yeah, not see them
demanding.
grow up. So I made the decision not even to get into coaching till I was 35, 40 years old,
Hmm.
and till my kids were a little bit older. But yeah, that time you can never recover, and it's gone in
No.
10, 15 years. It's gone. And so, yeah, that's awesome. So talk about your high school. You coached in 4 state title games. You have 1 title. Talk about some of those teams that you have coached.
Oh, from the powerhouses in the state of Alabama, I've been very fortunate. I started out at Prattville High School, and Prattville
Yeah,
became a dominant power in the early 2000s, to 2011
right,
and 12 with Bill Clark. Had a great system, great group of guys, one of the best coaching staffs I've ever been on in my life. And we all just gelled. It was just one of those things that was absolutely perfect together. And we went 4 years, and then we finally lost to Hoover in the state championship game. And the next year, I was offered a DC job at Clay Chalkville High School, which was another powerhouse in the state of Alabama. So I've been very fortunate on where I've been. Some of the coaches I've been around, from Enterprise High School, where Bill Bacon was a legend at Enterprise High School. And then, Phoenix
right,
City, Alabama, where we beat Thompson in the state championship back in 2018. And was very fortunate at my high school. We actually played for a state championship against Reeltown and lost 9-7. We actually ended Hazelwood's run of like 5 state championships in a row. So I've been very
wow.
fortunate, and God's blessed me and put me in a lot of places to see some great athletes and great people. And I tell you, I take nothing for it. That's for sure.
Coach, you still with us?
Yes.
Coach, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I
Okay.
can hear you now. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I'm good.
All right. All right, let's talk about the man, Coach Gene Stallings. What a guy. I mean, tell the story about Coach. Did he talk about Coach Bryant? Talk about the staff he had too.
Oh, Coach Stallings was, I remember when Coach Bryant passed away, I cried, all day. I remember it vividly when he passed away, And then when Coach Stallings came
Mhm.
there in '89, and I knew I was going to have an opportunity, to go back and play for somebody that was coached with Coach Bryant, and you know played under Coach Bryant. His mannerisms and
Mhm.
everything was the same way. I mean, a great man,
Yep.
does anything for his
Yep.
former players. Treats us like gold. Anytime we ever need anything, hey, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Just absolutely incredible
Yeah.
guy. Our
Yeah,
staff
he
was
is.
just loaded. You still there? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Still here.
the
Yep.
staff that we had was, Mal Moore and Jim Fuller, uh, let's see, Mike Dubose, Bill
Yeah.
Oliver,
What a staff.
Randy,
What a
Randy
staff.
Ross. I mean, it was
God.
just former Alabama greats, that had all been through that system. And I'll say this, I love those guys, but I love them because how hard it was going through there. It's like 6 a.m. workouts. You know what those are. And those are just something that you
Right.
can't explain.
Yep.
But I promise you this, those guys that go through it with you have forever become your brothers, because the only people you can
Yep.
depend on are those guys, And it's something
Yes.
you all go through. But, when you go through it for those coaches and stuff like that, you earn their trust, you earn their faith, and those guys, anytime you ever call them, no matter what you did, they're there to help you. And that's something that, a trust that you just can't break, and a bond that's just, it's Alabama, man. It's just Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama football family. It's a bond from
Absolutely.
everybody, isn't it?
Yes.
even in different generations and different eras. The art of punting combined with the science of mechanics. I mean, there's a serious evolution going on with kicking. Adapt or die. Kickoffs, field goals, punting has been going through phases, and for this emphasis. But I was reading Sports Illustrated. Through the first 7 weeks of the NFL season, LA is averaging in Carolina averaging 26 yards for kickoff returns. There's a sudden weaponization of kickoff, and 17 field goals have been blocked or punts. 3 of them leading the scores. More than 50-yard field goals have been more attempted and made this year than ever before. The number of kick returns has quadrupled since last year. Wow, special teams is in an evolution or a revolution, however you want to look at it. The Australian punters coming in. Talk about this change in the special teams in football now.
It's always been a important aspect of it, and everybody goes, it's a third of the game. It's really not a third of the game, but the plays there are so crucial now. 2-3 years ago, we were down against Auburn, and the punter punts the ball, the returner bobbles the ball, and we get the ball back to even have a chance, in that game. But the evolution of the kickers, the ability that they have to hit the football like they do now. When I was in school, when we were hitting 4.7, 4.8, and 4.9 hang times, now it's 5.1, and 5.2 hang times, which is just incredible to me. And then the way they drop the ball now, where it's nose down and they want to hit an end over end instead of making the ball turn over, I think it plays a lot to do with the kids nowadays fielding the ball, because when the wind hits that type of ball, it moves it, And I think that gives a little bit different demeanor to kids, because back when I was growing up, we would play setback, kicking the ball back and forth and catching the ball. I don't know how much they actually field these balls, other than when they're in practice. And
well,
when you get a ball going end over end with wind, it's just crazy.
They're talking about this guy putting a spin on it. Fitzgerald, who's going to do it, they say, by week 13 or 14, will be able to kick the ball helicopter style with spin and from his foot, almost like a left-footed punter wobbles the ball, but it's going to spin like a tornado on the ground and back up like Rory McIlroy's pitching wedge.
Yes.
Wow.
And they're
doing knuckleballs on kickoff. Isn't that crazy how they're experimenting with kickoffs?
Absolutely. We lost the onside kick last year when we were playing against South Carolina because of the way they're hitting the balls now. It's illegal to top it to make it pop up high without being able to fair catch it anymore. So some of these guys have got real creative. I know one of the new kickoffs is to lay the ball down like you used to do an old watermelon kick, but they'll tilt the tip of it up and they'll kick the top of the stripe, and they'll drive it from left to right, from right to left across the field. But what it does with the spin is it makes it arc back in bounds. But you're trying to pick up a ball that's like a top that's spinning at 30 miles an hour, which, it's amazing that they're that creative when it starts coming up that. But that's one of the things I saw the other day, and I'm thinking, well, this may be something we do on our kickoffs now in high school. So I want to be on the top tier of everything that comes out. My mind's always trying to gain the advantage.
Absolutely. All right, who are you punting here in this background? My green screen. Who are you punting against? Do you remember this game?
That was NC State. We went up to North Carolina State and played. Mm-hmm. Sure did.
Did you ever get a punt?
Go ahead.
Yeah, did you ever get a punt block?
I did get one blocked against Ole Miss. We had a miscommunication on coverage. My center went to the left, didn't pick up the guy on the right, and before I could even turn around, he was on top of me. So, yeah, nothing like hearing boom, boom in a game. You're like, oh, Lord, where is it? I got to find it now. Somebody's going to find it, and I better be the one that finds it because everybody else done took off down the field. But I remember this game against NC State. I hit one of the best balls I think I ever hit, and it was partially blocked, and it wound up going about 48 yards. So I don't know how far it would have went if the guy wouldn't have tipped it. But yeah, that was crazy. The one game that I remember that is one you brought up on the screen. I'm like, that is crazy. But yeah, I remember it
You
like
know,
yesterday.
our good friend Tank Williamson booted one in the Iron Bowl record, a punt in the Iron Bowl record. It still stands today. He must have booted an 80-yarder or something in that game over their head and gone. But he was a great coach. Who else did you learn the punting craft from? Was you your special teams coach, or did you have a personal coach back then? Not like they do now. Even middle school kids have personal kicking coaches now.
Yeah. No, it was trial by fire, learning a lot of it. But, Tank was there when I was there. He was a GA at Alabama.
Oh, that's
And
right.
he helped me out. But Gerald Jacks was one that really took me in and kind of showed me how to do things with Coach Stallings.
Right.
And he taught me after I got the one blocked against Ole Miss. He said, "We're never going to have one blocked again." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "We're going to speed you up." He said, "We've never had many guys as athletic as you to do this, so we're going to do what we call rocker step." And I'm like, "What is rocker step?" Well, most punters in the NFL and stuff are two-step guys.
Right.
Rocker step is actually when the ball snapped, you take a step back, step through, and kick. So our op time was like 1.96, 1.98. And when I learned to do this rocker step, it went from 1.9 to 1.82. So it really didn't matter if you came off the edge free or not. At 1.82 and 1.79, it's the
You
fast,
won't get there. Yeah,
no, you won't get there. And
you won't get
that
there.
was one thing that
So
Gerald Jacks taught me.
did that amount to like a step and a half, Hayden?
Yes, it actually did because we would always start at 14 yards. But by doing that rocker step, I was also getting the
Mhm.
ball off at 12 yards. So not
Oh,
only did
wow.
it speed up the time, but it created a larger distance in between people that could come to the point of attack, or the point of block.
Why have so many Australians gotten into college and NFL punting now? Is it because of their history? Is it because they're changing the way the style that special teams coaches want to punt? How come so many Australians have taken over the punting jobs?
I just think that the rugby style kicking that they do, that they play down there,
Mhm.
has really
Mhm.
become way more advanced in college. You don't see it in the NFL. NFL still hard nosed. They're going to do what they do with the two wings and two spread guys.
Right,
But they start really moving people around kicking, and it makes it much harder to set up blocks when you start doing that type of stuff. Not to
right,
mention when you can run and in your own pace, and you can take a look to see how quick the rush is there. If the rush is really not there, it gives you more time to really cover the field. So I think
right.
there's a lot of benefits to it, but you have to have the right kind of guys, and the rugby guys
Yeah.
are just those guys that's done it their entire lives.
How about this, Hayden? What do you think? Um, there's in high school, when I coached high school for 15, 16 years, I always put two returners back there because
Yes.
high school kids cannot cover 52 and a third yards on a punt.
No.
They'll let the ball bounce. And that was one of my sticklers. Don't let the ball hit the ground. So with two guys, you can cover a high school field. College and pro still puts one back there, but can't those rugby guys just hit that line drive and it hits the ground and bounce? You know how footballs are; they bounce every which way, and that all takes up time. And is that one of the reasons? I mean, why don't NFL guys put two returners back there? The other one can be personal protector and go block the first guy down.
That's a good question. I really don't know, especially with these rugby guys in college. If you try to cut the field, a lot of returners will cut the field to be able to get a better advantage of the ball. And as soon as the punters see it, they kick back across their body and really
Right,
take the returners out of the equation.
right.
You remember years ago, Steve Spurrier was the first one when they started rugby. He would put two returners there. He'd put a shallow guy and a deep guy. So if you were
Oh
going to do the
yeah,
end over end kick, he
right,
was going to catch it, fair catch it, and take the ball right there. But he was going to cut down that roll. So
right.
I think there's advantages and disadvantages. I just don't know if enough people's really looked at the return side of it compared to being aggressive punting the ball.
Um, I'm reading a book, Coach Bryant's book that he wrote in 1960, How to Build a Championship Football Team, before he even won his first title. And Gene Stallings, I had Coach Stallings on my show, and he said Coach Stallings wrote 90% of that book. But he talks about special teams, how important special teams was back in 1960. And
Yes.
I see high school games all the time. I was involved in it as a coach. I've won games with special teams, and I've lost playoff games with special teams. I don't understand why high school coaches do not take more time on special teams. Hey, do you see that? You've seen great high school coaches. Do they have a good special teams unit?
Usually when you see good football teams, you see good special teams. The coaches pay attention to the detail, and they leave
Yeah,
nothing to their disadvantage when it comes to that. And it
right.
gives you a huge advantage when you see people who don't spend time on that. So I think that's like I said, I know it's not 33% of it, but if I can win 20 or 25% of a game just off special teams,
Right.
I think it's a huge advantage, because when I played at Alabama, Coach Stallings, number one theory was we're either going to drive it and score, we're going to drive it kicking and score, or we're going to punt them and make them go 80 yards against us. And when I say he lived and breathed that, because me and Dill both, we were averaging like 75, 76 punts per year, which is a lot for a punter. But he believed in
Right.
us pinning them deep and making them go 80 yards against our defense. And he just believed if they beat us, they beat us, but they had to beat us the hardest way they could.
Yes, field position is still a stat that I think, matter of fact, in Sports Illustrated, they said if you start out a drive from your own 30 to 34 yard line, you'll score 38% of the time. If you start from your 35 yard line, you score 47% of the time. That's huge. That's a
Absolutely.
10%, and to go from 35 to 40, is like 1 or 2 percentage points. So you're going to score 50% of the time if you get the ball at the 40 or the 45.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a huge gap in that. And that's why kickers are trying to, not have touchbacks and put them as deep as they
Right.
can with all these kicks.
Because I think
Interesting stuff.
I
What
think
do
it's
you
like
think about our Crimson
15%.
Tide? Yeah.
Yeah, I
What do you
do. I
think about
think,
What do you think
they got
about our
their hands
Crimson
full.
Tide, Stock?
I think, Coach DeBoer and them's doing a really good job. I really do.
Yep, I do
You
too.
know, I think Coach Bryant and them would roll over in their graves with this NIL and everything that's going on, and pay to play, and it's a different world, and it's not even one that I was in. And being able to handle the egos, the money, and all the external factors, as Coach Saban would say, outside of everything, I take
Right.
my hat off to all these college coaches, because they got their hands full, and it's not just it's
Yeah.
24/7, and I think what they have done at Alabama this year, I know we had a little bit of a letdown at Florida State, but to run the gauntlet they ran is as good as any team in the nation. There's no doubt about that. And I know that we didn't get on the winning side against Oklahoma, but if you watch the game, we won the game up and down the field. We just lost a 3 turnover battle that actually cost us, because
Yep.
we only gave up 1 touchdown defensively.
Absolutely.
So, everybody's
Absolutely.
like, Georgia,
Absolutely.
Georgia, Georgia. Well, we're still Alabama too.
Yep. Wow. One last question, hey. Coach, who would be a great guest to have on the show here?
A great guest to have on the show. Antonio Langham, Smiley.
Oh, yeah.
He is
Yeah, I
always
do
ready
I
to
do
be
a Monday
around.
night show with his I do.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, I do a Monday night show with his cousin, his first cousin, Kerry Good. And
Really?
yeah. Yep. Monday night's a Good and Faithful Servant show. We deep dive into his book, Good and Faithful Servant. And
Uh-huh.
Kerry spews his amazing wisdom. And 4 boys from that household, Clyde Jr., Kerry, Chris, Pierre, and Antonio Langham, their first cousin who lived with them. 5 boys from the set were stars at it. I mean, ESPN should be doing a 30 for 30 on that family, right?
Oh, I agree 100%. And that's, you know, me and Langham have always gotten along, and always, because he was played at Hazelwood when I played at Winston County High School, and we were the team that beat them and knocked them out of the playoff. So him and Terrence Lynch was sitting there, and he said, "Who was that big old boy that hit me so hard on that 4th down?" I said, "Well, that was our safety, David Brockway." So, yeah, we've always had that connection ever since high school. But just, you know, they're just like my brothers. I love them to death, man. And I love Smiley. He is always in a good mood.
That was the punter. Yeah, that was the punter that hit you up here. Man, that's funny. Oh gosh, great to have you on, Coach. We'll do it again. Thank you for giving back to all those kids and being a mentor and a coach and somebody they can look up to, and giving back to the game that gave us so much. Thanks, buddy.
I appreciate you inviting me on. I really do. And I love these kids, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for what you do, Coach. We'll talk to you soon. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Hayden Stockton, great punter at Alabama, and a long line of great punters, as we named a few of them. We'll try to get another one on. Try to get Tank Williamson on, talk about his punting days, and Coach Stallings. Maybe we should have talked a little more about Coach Stallings. What an amazing guy he is. Thanks for watching. Have a great sports weekend, everybody. Stay tuned for these great messages. Without these sponsors, this just wouldn't be possible. So long, everyone.
When it comes to buying your next car, truck, or SUV, you need a team that puts you first. Here at the Sandy Sansing dealerships, we're proud to serve Pensacola and the Gulf Coast with the best selection, trusted service, and deals that work for your family. Just like great coaches build great teams, Sandy Sansing builds lasting relationships with every customer who walks through our doors. Because when it comes to finding your next vehicle, there's only one name to remember. Sandy Sansing can.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Arbitrium Consulting for all your fencing, landscaping, pressure washing, tree trimming needs. Call 850-483-0350 for your free estimates. Serving Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, Destin, Perdido, Gulf Shores, Foley, and the entire Gulf Coast. Arbitrium Consulting is owner-operated, fully licensed and insured. Call today, 850-483-0350, the official landscaper of Coach's Corner.
When it comes to buggies and golf carts, nobody does it like Buggy Works. Hi, I'm JP Wibbs. We've got the largest selection of golf carts on the Gulf Coast. We have a brand new 10,000 square foot state-of-the-art service center and showroom to keep you rolling. We're right here in the heart of Car City at 5831 Pensacola Boulevard. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays 9 to 3. Check us out at buggyworks.com. Buggy Works. Come by and see why we're the #1 Denago dealer in the nation.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
When it comes to buying your next car, truck, or SUV, you need a team that puts you first. Here at the Sandy Sansing dealerships, we're proud to serve Pensacola and the Gulf Coast with the best selection, trusted service, and deals that work for your family. Just like great coaches build great teams, Sandy Sansing builds lasting relationships with every customer who walks through our doors. Because when it comes to finding your next vehicle, there's only one name to remember. Sandy Sansing can.
75 years of service and high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.